86% of organizations value professionals that upskill to advance their careers. It's never too late. Enroll for a self-paced online course to begin upskilling in monitoring, evaluation, accountability and learning, water, sanitation and hygiene, disaster risk reduction and management, food security and nutrition in emergencies, procurement and supply chain management, human nutrition and dietetics, maternal and infant young child nutrition. Apply today to enjoy a 10% discount.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone, from wherever you're joining us from. Hello, Evans. Hello, Coco. Can see you've been able to join in. Let's just give a few minutes for some few people to join the session, then we'll be able to begin in just a bit. In the meantime, please engage us on the chat section. Let us know where you're joining us from. If possible, you can also let us know the organization that you work with, and we'll be glad to connect with you. So let's please use the chat section just for introductions, and I believe we'll have an amazing time as we do the same. Thank you so much for the patience, guys. Thank you so much for joining our session today. I can see we have quite a good number of participants. Hello, Evans, I can see you. Hello, Coco. Hi, Anthony. I can see. That's great. Thank you so much for joining our session this evening here in Kenya. I know we have participants from various parts of Africa and even other parts of the world. I can see there's quite some engagement on the chat section. So we'll be beginning in just a bit. I can see we are just 2 minutes after 7 o'clock here in Kenya, East Africa. Probably just to say hello, I can see Felicia from Nigeria. Hello, Felicia. Lamin Kamara from Gambia. Hello, Lamin. Thank you for joining. There's Girma from Ethiopia. There's Tessa from Nigeria. There's Jebel from Gambia, West Africa. We have Mandy from South Africa. So we have quite some representation. We have Umesh Kumar from Nepal. Hello, everyone. And once again, thank you very much for joining. Once again, thank you so much for joining our session this evening. As I mentioned, from wherever you're joining us from, we are at the top of the hour here in. Okay, so we are just 5 minutes past 7 p.m. here in Nairobi, Kenya. And I'm really excited to be able to connect with all of you. Just to give a shout out to some participants who are with us. I can see we have Friday Simbaya, who's joining from Iringa region in Tanzania, who's a freelance journalist from Monanchi Communications. Thank you for joining Friday. I can see we have Justice joining from Botswana. We have Dilip from Nepal. Ernest from Rwanda. Thank you so much for joining, Ernest. We have Rahim from Nigeria. We have Josephat from Kericho, Kenya. So once again, thank you so much for joining. Please, let's keep the engagement going on in the chat section. If possible, you can let us know the organization that you work with, because today we want to talk about a very interesting topic about leadership and project management. My name is Ian. Before I begin, probably just with some introductions, my name is Ian. I represent the business development team at Humanitarian Global. And once again, it's an honor to be here with you guys this evening or afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. So today we have an interesting topic, probably just to lay some context into the discussion that we'll be having in just a bit. Today we'll be talking about navigating VUCAS, and specifically essential tips or essential leadership strategies for successful project management. So once again, we are really excited with this topic. As you can see, we have quite some experts panelists in this session, and we hope to have an engaging session. Probably just to lay some context on what to expect in just a bit on this topic. So the relevance, why is this webinar relevant for you? So that this is just to help us to have a reflection of the challenging environments in which we operate. And by the end of this webinar, I believe we should be able to understand or gain insights into effectively managing projects in such context. So I believe majority, if not all of us here are skilled in the area of project management, or we are probably in the role of leadership, in leadership roles in project management. And once again, I believe we'll have an engaging session just to enable us to learn more. Before I head too far, probably as you can see, I have a team that is working with me, probably just to do some introductions on the team. I know some of our participants have been able to introduce themselves in the chat section, but probably I'll also just begin to introduce some of our team members. Let me start off with Anthony. Anthony, you can say hello, and yeah, you can let us know how your evening is going.
Hi, everyone, and thanks so much, Ian, for welcoming me to the session. My name is Anthony Mukuhi from Humanitarian Global. I do represent the academic team, and we look forward to having a great session. I can see all of us being ready. I believe that you do have your notebook, your pens, because it's going to be a very interactive session as we get to learn more when it comes to project management. So with that said, back to you, Ian, and I'll be back in a few. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. I can see Brian is here with us. Brian, you can say hello and probably just also just tell us more about your role here with us at Humanitarian Global.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Just do a heads up, Ian, if you can hear me.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much for inviting me to this webinar today. As I said, my name is Brian, part of the technical team that makes everything to be possible in this event of ours today. So I look forward to a resourceful event today, and thanks to everyone at Humanitarian Global, and thanks to you, Ian, for also recognizing me. Thank you.
That's great, Brian. Once again, thank you so much for making the time. I can see we have some of our experts in the house. Let me start with Evans. Evans, thank you so much for joining. Please say hello and just tell us where you're joining us from.
That's
better.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear
Hi,
you.
this is Evans from Western Kenya, Eldoret. I run a non-governmental organization called Beam Children's Foundation, and I've been a trainee before with Humanitarian Global. I'm glad this time around to be able to share my knowledge. Thank you.
That's great. That's great, Evans, and thank you so much for joining. Evans is one of our past participants who joined us last December in our on-site training here in Nairobi, Kenya, in leadership and project management. I can see we also have Coco. Please, Coco, just say hello, tell us where you're joining us from, and probably what people can expect from today's session.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Coco.
I'm Coco Zotoglo. I'm from Togo, and I am an expert agronomist. I have been working for more than 15 years, but the last 12 years, I'm working with USAID in West Africa. So we have a regional program covering several countries at the time. And last December, I have the opportunity to follow the training of Humanitarian Global on project management and leadership, which was really informative, impressive, and very interesting. So I thank the Humanitarian Global to invite me for this webinar. Thank you.
That's great, Coco, and thank you so much for the insights. We can see we have a representation from West Africa, and that's great. At least we'll get to understand more, especially in the role of leadership. And from your experience, I believe you'll have so much to share with us in our session today. We have Jennifer. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining our session. I hope you can hear me. Please say hello. Whether you can hear me, just let me know.
Yes, hello everyone.
Yes.
My name is Jennifer Chemisto. I work with an organization that is a not-for-profit, or some like to call it NGO, that is called Solidaridad, as a project manager. Last year, I was also lucky to be part of the team that were being trained under the leadership in the project management by the HG, that is Humanitarian Global Institute. So today I'm happy to be part of this team and also to share my experience and also learn from you people, the team who are here. Yeah, so that's my expectation, and I hope that the session will be interactive. And thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
That's great, Jennifer. Thank you so much for making the time to join us this evening. I know you're here in Kenya. Thank you so much for making the time. So lastly, I have our expert here with us, Kadiri. Kadiri, if you can hear me, just say hello and probably just tell us what to expect in today's session.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Super. Bonsoir, mes amis from West Africa. It's Kawaran from my Somali friends. Habari zenu from my East African friends, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're listening from. My name is Kevin Kadiri. Ian has called me an expert, but I would like to see myself as, you know, a learner on a journey. To share experiences and get from each other. You know, the moment you think yourself an expert, sometimes you think your cup is full and you can no longer take more in. So I have a little bit of experience in the area that you're going to be sharing today, and the session will be more of a discussion, just to hear from practitioners, to hear from the team here, the panelists on the experiences on VUCA, and I hope that we'll be able to pick something from that. Thank you.
That's great, Kevin, and probably you'll just come in a bit, but that's a good point you've raised there. I believe, especially for us, because we're talking about leadership and the character that we should be, we should be manifesting is the character where we're always ready to learn from the experiences of others, and I believe that's quite important. And I believe that's one of the things that we'll be able to share in this session. So probably I'll just invite Anthony to just share some bit of what to expect, what is coming up in the next few weeks from Humanitarian Global, probably in the next 5-10 minutes, so that then we can be able to get into the session. Today I can see there's quite some engagement. Thank you so much for everyone who's continuing to engage with us. Please continue doing so, and if you're able to, probably you can share this link with your colleagues, and I believe we'll have an exciting session. I can see we've hit 100 participants so far, and I'd like for us to grow this number so that we are all able to learn on the topic of the day. So probably Anthony, please, if you're able to hear me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ian, and also to my fellow panelists. So happy to be part of the panel. And today, I think what is so evident, we have heard from Coco, Jennifer, and also from Evans, talking about the training they did undertake at Humanitarian Global. Before we get into VUCA and also the essential principles when it comes to leadership, as guided by Kadiri, I would like to share with you just a snippet of the training that our participants have been able to undertake before with us. And I'm going to use like the next 5 minutes just to run you through on what you expect when it comes to this particular training. So we talk about project management, and I believe all of us here, in whichever the organization you might be working in, you talk about projects, you have a project that you're running, and also some of us, you are privileged to be the leader in that project. So that means we need to seek for ways on how we can always get to build our capacity, and that is going to help us realize better results when it comes to the projects that we are running. So with that said, I would like to refer you to our website. We do have a training on project management and leadership essentials. And for this particular training, I would like to say that once you go to the website, you can go to learning and services, you can look into workshops, and then you're going to see project and management essentials training workshops. And then down here, there's this particular one, and that is on leadership and project management for NGOs and development organizations. So there's a brief there, and for this training, we do have it happening across, spread out for the whole year over the year 2024. You're going to see the training dates there. And based on these training, we do offer it on-site and also online. So that means you might not be in a position to come over to Nairobi, Kenya, but you can also be able to follow up with the training like Coco, how he did it through the online mode of learning. We do also have on-site, like how Evans was part of the class that came over for the December class. And you can see the dates there, and together with the training fee for that particular training. So what I would like to focus on is looking at the objectives. So what do you aim at achieving by the end of the training. So we talk about being very good when it comes to advanced project management and leadership skills. That is what you'll be looking forward to. And also you're going to gain a very good understanding when it comes to project management principles and practices. We talk about how we need to conduct ourselves as the leaders in a certain project. So that is what we try to reinforce here through this particular training. We also talk about acquisition of leadership competencies to lead your teams effectively. And that is a skill that is going to empower you as you lead your team, as you work together with your team. You can always be that person who can be looked at to be, this is our leader, this is the person who is going to help us to get to where we want to achieve with this particular project. We also talk about learning how to plan and how to execute, and also how to close projects with a strategic approach. So that is trying to cut across the entire project cycle, where you need to plan first, you need to go to get into execution, and also how you do the closure of the project. So that is through the application of a strategic approach. And then finally, but not least, that is making a significant contribution to the success of the projects within the NGOs and also the development organizations. So what I would like now to share with you, this is the training outline. So how does it look like? What is these Coco, Evans, and many other participants who are very much pleased when it comes to the training. So the first module here, we talk about project management fundamentals and also leadership skills. And you can see we are very elaborate when it comes to going into details what we do cover in that particular module. So we talk about understanding the project management. Secondly, so you can see the subtopics there. We also look into the leadership in project management, project management framework, and also making sure that we can cut across the project management cycle. We talk about the different types of life cycles when it comes to the project. So we talk about the agile, waterfall, among many others, and also we look into the triple constraints when it comes to project management. And this is where we focus on scope, time, and cost. So they are very key. The moment you alter one, you need to also do some changes to the other constraints, so they go hand in hand. So the second module, it's about project initiation and also stakeholder engagement. We do these projects having stakeholders in mind, talk about the beneficiaries, the donors. So maybe sometimes you have a very good project, but it might fail if you don't know how to really work well with your stakeholders. So we talk about the strategic project initiation. You can see the subtopics there. We talk also about the stakeholder analysis and also engagement. And I know my colleague, Brian, he's going to be sharing the link with you on the chat section so that afterwards you can go through the entire course outline there. We also talk about the stakeholder analysis and also engagement, and also the roles and responsibilities when it comes to undertaking a project. The third module, it is about advanced project management and risk management. And among the key areas that we look into here, we talk about the project scope definition, where you look about scope versus the project scope, and also defining the product scope as well. And then also looking into the second subtopic there, it's about the work breakdown structure. So it's a very big project that you're doing. Maybe it's not big, but at the end of the day, you need to delegate, you need to have a team. So how do you work across, coming up with the work down structure? So that is what we look into. We talk about the cost estimation and budgeting. This is very key because again, drawing back to, the constraints. So you need to work well when it comes to the cost estimation and also the budgeting. We also talk about the project schedule, and that is the development of the project schedule. We talk about the project risk management, and also the project baseline and change control. So we try to go into details when it comes to those sub-modules. We look into the leadership in project execution and also the team development. So this is our fourth module, and among the key areas that we look into, we talk about the execution phase essentials. We talk about the team development and leadership, and also the effective communication. So whenever you lack communication in a project, it might not go well for you. So you need to know how to better foster effective communication within your project. We also talk about conflict resolution and also decision making together with project review and also oversight. So the last module, which is the fifth module, it's about the project closure and also the post-project analysis. And among the key areas that we look into here, we talk about the project closing activities. We talk about the project, the post-project analysis, and also the continuous improvement, leadership and leadership impact, and also project outcomes, and also the strategic thinking in project management, together with personal leadership action. So I've tried just to skim through, and we're going to be sharing a link to the full outline so that you can have a look at it. So for the online course, if you do it as an online training for you, it's going to take a period of 2 weeks. So this is where we do a class at a time like this one in the evening from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. East African time. And that is within a period of 2 weeks. So you can see the dates there. And I'm so happy to invite you for the upcoming class of 25th of March, all the way to the 5th of April, the year 2024. And then you might also be interested to come over to Nairobi, Kenya, a very good city for you to be in if you have not been there. So this one, we do it for 5 days, and that is from 1st of April all the way to 5th of April. So the tuition fee, the training fee for that is 1,200 USD for the on-site one, and then for the online one is 700. So maybe the question is, how do I join? So we do have a link here for you to register. So there's a form that is going to open there, and then you can follow the prompts, and then our team is going to get back to you. So sorry so much, Ian, for going way beyond the 5 minutes. But with that, you can always chat me on the chat section, Anthony, Brian, Ian, and we are going to be there to, guide you when it comes to enrollment. So thank you so much, and back to you, Ian.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Indeed, a lot of information on how to register for this training, and I believe our participants will be able to join us in this session. So we do look forward to, joining us for this session. We had an amazing time in December in the same class, and I hope that indeed you'll take the chance in the upcoming sessions just to be part of our alumni. As you can see, we have participants from different contexts, and indeed it adds value when it comes to, understanding how different people deal with different scenarios based on the context that they are coming in. And I believe there's one or two things that we are able to learn out of that. Probably we want to delve into the topic of the day. I believe Anthony has been able to share majority of what we should be looking forward to in the coming month of March for the online class, and from the 1st of April for the on-site class. And I believe we'll be able to really get some people joining us for that session, and we'll be glad to issue certifications for you. I believe Evans, Jennifer, Coco, and the rest can be able to attest to that. So probably just a few house rules as we enter into the session, and thank you so much for the engagement on the chat. So please, let's continue to do so. If you have any comment on the discussion that is ongoing, please let us drop them on the chat box, and I believe we'll be able to go through them as we continue. If you have any question regarding the topic that will be discussed, kindly let's use the Q&A section. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll be able to see the different options when it comes to the chat box as well as the Q&A. So let's please adhere to that so that our panelists can be able to handle the comments that probably are coming in, the questions that are coming in, and please be sure to segment them accordingly. In addition, we'll also have a live Q&A section where we'll just allow some participants who are joining us to be able to ask questions live, and we'll do that as the session is ongoing. So please, if you'd like to, contribute to the session, please use the raise your hand feature, and we'll be able to just give you some few seconds to be able to share your thoughts on the topic of the day. So right now, and probably just before I forget, we also are streaming live on Facebook. So for the participants who are joining us from Facebook, please receive our greetings. And if possible, please contribute to the same by sharing this broadcast so that we are able to learn together, invite more people so that we're able to learn together on the topic of the day. So without much ado, please allow me to introduce Kadiri, who's going to lead us to the next section. And please, I hope you have your notebooks ready, because it's going to be quite an engaging session to learn about the topic of the day, and I believe we'll have an amazing time as we do so. So Kadiri, probably as we begin, please introduce us to the topic. I want to understand more about VUCAS and how VUCA disrupts traditional leadership paradigms and necessitates new approaches. So please enlighten us on the topic of the day. Over to you, Kadiri.
So today we are just going to have a brief discussion on VUCA, and things have been changing in the world, things have been happening, And yet, as practitioners, we still need to achieve our objectives. We still need to achieve, the outcomes that we have set to achieve, or we have promised to achieve. So today we're just going to have some time and briefly discuss, and I hope that the topic will excite you to go and try and dig a bit more and find out a bit more, because in the time that we have, for me, usually I see these webinars as an opportunity to excite you, to provoke you, to make you want to look out for more, so that you're able to even increase your knowledge, your expertise, and skills in these issues. So we are briefly going just to talk about navigating VUCA, the essential leadership strategies for turbulent times. We are going to throw in a few concepts here and there, hoping that you'll be able to pick something that is relevant for you and something that you can even dig further. So we're basically just going to divide our session today in like 3 parts, so that you're able to maximize the time that we have available. So we're just going to look at what is VUCA. There are some examples of VUCA environment that we probably can relate with, and then how do we navigate this environment as project managers or as leaders in our organizations. And we are also going to have panelists to share, because sometimes we have a lot of information that we are given, a lot of literature, a lot of book knowledge, but today we are also going to have people who've experienced these things that are going to share their experiences with us, and we'll have an opportunity to also ask them questions. And like Ian has said, as we continue with our discussion, please feel free to type in your questions in the question and answer box or in the chat box, and the team will be able to capture and will be able to provide the responses as much as we can. Where we may not have the answers, we'll also be open enough to tell you we are also learning, and we are going to look for that information, and hopefully we'll meet you in the project management class so that you're able to even go deeper and answer some of the questions that we may not be able maybe to answer today because of different things. So just to dive directly into VUCA and just trying to understand what is this VUCA that we are talking about. This is a concept that I think emerged from the US military when they were trying to describe the kind of environment that they were now facing compared to what they were facing there before. And I believe even from, especially most of us who are from Africa, or those who are from countries that have faced terrorist attacks, you've had that conversation that their styles keep on changing, the way they do things keep on changing, and therefore our security forces also need to adapt to the way things are also changing. So it emerged from there. They may not have been the first ones to use it, but the concept has been developed over time. So basically, when we talk about VUCA, we are saying that a VUCA environment is one that is characterized, and VUCA is an acronym. So the V stands for volatility, the U, uncertainty, the C, complexity, and the A, ambiguity. So we find ourselves in such kind of an environment where things are volatile, things are uncertain, they are complex, and there is no clarity, there's ambiguity. What direction should we follow? How should we do this? How should we move from this place to that place? There are so many paths, you're developing your theory of change, and it's complex. The environment is volatile. You don't know when there will be peace. You don't know when the war will end. You don't know the changing environment. Last year it was dry at this month. This year it is raining. You're not sure, should I plant? Should I not plant? You are uncertain. And that's the kind of environment that we find ourselves in. So the volatility basically tries to characterize the rapid and unpredictable nature of change, that you can't, the way sometimes when people look for jobs and you say you're looking for job security, that you want to be sure that, and that's why some people run to government jobs, because, this is permanent and pensionable, But this environment says, that things are rapidly changing and they are unpredictable. Yeah, today there is peace and tomorrow something has erupted to interfere with our peace. Today we are all okay. Tomorrow someone somewhere has made a policy that has altered the environment completely. So things are changing very fast. Today we are using hard currency. Tomorrow we hear cryptocurrency, and you're wondering, okay, so what do we do? How do we move on? And it's uncertainty, you know, that it denotes the unpredictability of events and issues. You are really not sure. With the climate change crisis, you're really not sure. Will the planting seasons be the same as they have been before? You know, when it floods, are our systems able to absorb, adapt, and transform to this changing environment? Will the next government continue with these policies, or will there be a shift in the policies? You know, will the community still accept? And that is why you keep on hearing now things like decolonizing aid, the localization agenda, you know, the grand bargain, because all these things people are trying to adapt to the VUCA environment or to the VUCA reality, that things are not the way they have been before. And therefore, if you do not adapt and adjust, then you might be left out. You know, ask Nokia, ask Kodak, you know, people who did not adapt to the change, and nowadays we can't hear about them. You know, they were the first ones in the market, but now we rarely see them as the leaders in their industries, you know, because probably when things were changing, when things were becoming volatile and uncertain, they did not adapt and adjust to these particular changes. C is complexity. And this basically talks about the intertwined forces and issues, making cause and effect relationships unclear. You know, when you're developing your project, you're designing your program, and you need to do a theory of change, you need to do a logical framework. And the issue is so complex. You know, you go to a community and you want to bring in a development entrepreneurship project, and they tell you there cannot be development without peace. You know, and therefore you want to work on issues to do with peace and security, but then the issues of justice come in and human rights come in. You want to work with the family, then they tell you we also have children. You know, we have this group that think this way and this other group that is thinking this way, you know, and therefore it becomes very complex. You try to describe your theory of change, and you even sometimes get lost. You know, you get challenged. You know, how sure are you that if we do this, then this will happen? You know, how sure are you that if we take this path, we will be able to achieve our objective or get to our destination? Then of course there's ambiguity. You know, the lack of clarity, the reality is not clear. You know, there's a lot of misunderstanding stemming from mixed messages. You know, today you wonder, you know, on one aspect, the donors are telling you, you know, we do not want to be seen as though we are supporting or trying to evangelize, you know, religious things. But at the same time, again, we realize religion and in development, they're intertwined. We have studies, we have evidence that you have to work with the religious leaders, you have to work with religious institutions in some context, because they have the sway of the people. You know, you have to look at all these things. So ambiguity, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, these are the reality that we currently live in. And just to bring in the first panelist, even as we proceed on, and that should be Kuku Zotoglo from Togo. Just to share with us briefly, now that we understand what VUCA is and the environment and the reality, I would just like him to share for 5 minutes or so on how has this reality, how has this environment disrupted traditional leadership paradigms and necessitated new approaches if you want to be successful. So I want to bring in Kuku into the discussion, just to also share from his perspective as a practitioner how VUCA has disrupted traditional leadership paradigms.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. Thank you for the introduction. I can say that the new concept is like something which is not really new. That is the real situation the development project face. And as they don't think before about the way and the strategy to overcome so that they could have a good result, this makes things more complex, more volatile and uncertain. So we know that basically a manager, the basic function of a manager, we know it, is the planning. The manager have to plan his activity, whether annually, semester or monthly, and then organize the execution of the activity, controlling and directing. But at each step, there is some new situation who resolve, and he has to resolve them before he can go forward. So this make the execution of the project somehow difficult, but as the methods of a manager is to manage the complexity, the manager have to elaborate his risk management plan. And he can have a different risk management plan so that if something occur on a side, he can be able to resolve it very quickly. Now, coming to the leadership, we all know that a leader must be a person who have a very good communication with the team, because he have to motivate the team so that the team can work together closely to have a more impact. We know also that to motivate a team, the manager have to be in a continuous process of team building. He have to work on his team all the time so that all the team could be coherent and very successful. This say we can also add that a leader is the one who really manage the changes in the project. Mr. Kadiri said now that you are working on the theory of change, and you don't know whether if you assess this, the result you accept will really happen. But you have to analyze the most important method or process to have the result you are looking for. So that being, I can conclude that for this new concept, we have some challenges. The challenges I can give two. To work on this new concept very tightly, I think that the leader must have a good soft skill, meaning that the manager has to know how to approach the problems, how to approach the situations, how to approach every individual of the teams so that the result of the whole team meet a greater or a good impact. That's the first challenge. The second challenge is the digital transformation. We know all that today the ITs are in every sector of the economy. So the leader must be in that move. He must be able to adapt the strategies, the methods, and the eventual solution to the changing situation. So for me, that's the two big challenges the leader have to face if he really want to solve or to be successful on this new concept. Thank you very much. And later, if people have questions, we can get in deeper on the ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kuku. Time fails us, so I will try and move it a little bit faster. But thank you so much, Kuku, for sharing those challenges and you know, just the realities of a VUCA environment. And in addition to what Kuku has said, just some other examples that we may be familiar with when it comes to the VUCA environment. We all, or majority of us, probably are aware of the emergence of Uber and Airbnb that relied actually on technology to disrupt the market. You know, that now instead of you know, calling a taxi and negotiating, you know, you just go to your phone and hail a taxi using your phone, and the car will be there, the number plate, the driver, the make, you know. And nowadays, if you're using an Uber, if you, for example, you are not moving for some time, you get a message asking you whether everything is okay and everything is fine. So these are some of the disruptions that happened, you know, and therefore the taxi companies that did not adapt or take advantage of this technology, then the market became tough for them. Same to Airbnb, you know, that instead of going to a hotel, now someone is offering one of their bedrooms, one of their houses, you know, and they're able to host and share. You know, you could talk about the rise of Netflix for those who enjoy watching movies. My first job was working in a video library, and I was in the video library. You would come and we'd give you the tapes, you know, the tapes. And then after the tapes, we had the VCDs. The VCDs usually were in two, part A, part B, you know. Then after the VCDs, there came the DVD, you know, that had one movie. Then there are others that had many movies in one DVD. But with time, Netflix came, you know, Showmax came, that now you no longer need to go and buy the actual DVDs and VCDs and tapes. You no longer need to go to the library. You just need to download the app, pay whatever fees they want you to pay, and you have access to so many movies, you know, even the ones that were being downloaded and sold to people. That is a disruption. And those are the things that we are talking about when we talk about the VUCA environment. Think of the COVID-19 pandemic, you know. What we are doing now was not imaginable to many of us in 2019 and moving back. Very few of us, if we were told we'll have a webinar, we didn't even know what a webinar is in the first place, even before saying we'll have a webinar. If someone told you you'll have an online training, you'd wonder, how will it happen? How will we be divided into groups? How will we discuss, you know, what platform will we use? We only knew probably of emails, you know, Yahoo, and anyone who's using Yahoo must be very old actually. Those are the first users, you know, Yahoo, you know, before Gmail came, and, you know, quite a number of people. So the COVID-19 pandemic triggered a scenario for the entire world. It affected our health, how we are prepared, how we prepare ourselves. It affected the economy. There are people who lost their jobs. There are companies that closed down. There are different ways of doing things. You go to the bank, you go to the hospital, the supermarkets. A lot of apps came up that now you don't need to go to the supermarket, just sit at home and order whatever you want. It changed the way we do our politics. So it really disrupted the environment. Yeah, for those who follow international news, think of the Brexit referendum. It also created a VUCA situation for the UK. And if you followed, you've seen how from then on, prime minister after prime minister, resigning and leaving office, and them just trying to figure out the implications of moving out of the EU. So it created a lot of uncertainty, ambiguity about the future. How do they relate with other countries? When you're in the EU, you can freely move, but now that they're not members of the EU, so what happens? Do they need to get visas and so on and so forth? So it created a lot of ambiguity and so on. Think of the China and the US trade war. Yeah, this created also volatility and complexity in the global economy. It affected business, it affected consumers, it affected governments. Even the current war in Ukraine versus Russia, we are told it is affecting, those of you who use a lot of wheat, apparently most of it comes from there, fertilizer comes from there. So the war is in that part, but the implications also are creating uncertainties in this other part of the world. And it creates that kind of an environment. It disrupts. And actually someone said, on a positive side, the disruptors, are the ones who are now going to succeed. You have to disrupt the way things are happening. If you look at all the positive examples, especially on the first two, then you're able to disrupt the market and, come in and do something different. Yeah. So changing technologies, globalization, political and economic turbulence, natural disasters, all these translate into VUCA elements and the VUCA reality that makes it very difficult at times for organizations even to plan and analyze the environment, because you don't know what it will be like in the next 3 years. You don't know what it will be like as a result of climate change, as a result of the changing weather patterns, as a result of the global politics, as a result of the, the dollar and so on, fluctuations and so on. So all this create that VUCA reality. And therefore, as organizations, we must deal with these sudden changes in the political and economic uncertainties, the complex social structures, and the ambiguities of interpreting all this in our environment and in our context. And I just want to bring in the next panelist, and that should be just a moment, I need to refer Evans. Yeah, Evans. Because we are saying now that to lead in a VUCA environment, as a project manager, you must develop and practice agility. You can't just remain the way you are. You must be like water. Whatever the container you are put in, you are able to take the shape of that container and still achieve your objective. You must be able to have the ability to quickly learn, quickly adapt, quickly change, and succeed in a turbulent environment. And that is what some people call the Velcro organization. You can go and read more about the Velcro organization, So I just want to bring in Evans and just to talk about briefly his experience, whether, can we say that adaptive leadership then is the key to address the challenges posed by VUCA? Yeah. Evans, the floor is yours.
Evans, please
I'm
unmute.
unmuting. Sorry
okay.
for that.
Okay.
Also, my internet is not quite stable. So if maybe I'll be on and off, you can let me know so that I can know what the strategy can be to adapt to this new challenge here because of the rains we're experiencing here. So thank you, Kevin, for that informative introduction. And what was going through my mind when you talked about VUCA and introducing it for those of us who are Swahili speakers, VUCA means to cross over. And, that was what was on my mind when you were taking us through. And, now maybe for me would be to address the leadership as a project manager on how you can VUCA, on how you can cross border, on how you can cross the river to the other side, you can cross the turbulent times. And, that is very interesting because I would love to give my personal journey and experience, because where, started off as a founder and working for this small organization, and it got to a point we had to transform to a big organization and adapt the strategies that work, the management styles that work, and leave the traditional approach that we all knew. And yeah, so for me, I would like to quickly take you through the adaptive leadership strategies. And one of it that I want to talk about is the emotional intelligence. And with emotional intelligence is being aware of emotions and the emotions of others. Where I work, we provide educational scholarships, and with that it came to a point we realized this is not enough. That we bring in vulnerable children who come with a lot of past trauma, and you have to address that before even telling them what science is, what mathematics is, what a language is. They would want to go past their trauma. So that is interesting because as an adaptive transformative leadership, I had to bring in that and realize that counseling should be part of our everyday life in trying to cope with the challenges that everyone, each one of us goes through something at some point. And secondly, I would like cultivating a culture of fairness and equity. I come from a place whereby we work giving out scholarships, and you're in this privileged position that you can quickly say yes or quickly say no to somebody without really experiencing what they're going through, or maybe going through a report, or maybe doing further home visits, social visits, school visits, to understand the real problem. And with that, I'm not a social worker, and I work with social workers every day, and I have to listen to them. I don't go to the field. I go to the field maybe once or twice a month, and they're there every day. So I sort of have to I bring in their views, I listen to them. I even take in their advice when we're handling a case. So that is about the organizational justice and also development. And, this is why I became part of the Humanitarian Global training last year in Nairobi in December. Last year, December in Nairobi, I got to a point and realized, I have to get out of where I am with the knowledge and the experience that I have. I have to go out of there. I need to go out there. I need to go and learn. I need to go for training. I need to network with other people. I need to know what other people think about, certain things that are happening everywhere, globally and even nationally. And, with that, I've been talking about discovering new strategies for my employees. Like, where we work, as I said, we're working with vulnerable people in the community. And sometimes they run to us as a refuge. So when they knock at our doors and we push them back, we'd say, I was having that interesting discussion with a social worker, and they were saying, it would be very hard for me to say no to somebody who is running to me expecting a solution from us, and outrightly giving them like a no, that you don't qualify for a scholarship. So he was talking about new strategies of how to handle this, and maybe telling them finding other opportunities. Maybe they don't qualify for our program, but we can connect them to other organizations or even the government. They have bursaries that they give to vulnerable people. So that is a new strategy they adopted. And also character So this is, this is what we all know. We hear about it every day, about leading by example. And so as a leader, you really have, as an adaptive leader to VUCA, you have to lead by example. You have to be transparent. You have to show accountability. You have to show high level of integrity. You have to be honest, when say you say something and it happened that maybe 2 weeks later that's not the case, it's just proper for you as a manager to accept that maybe you overlooked something, you undermined the situation, and you call it that and say, and apologize even to your employees and say, hey guys, I'm sorry this happened like this, it's my fault. And even give direction that this is how we are going to tackle this going forward. And lastly would actually connecting back to the development, which is about training and development for the employees. We're talking about organization knowledge and creation, which is about, I don't encounter that every day, but about the learning and innovation. You can encourage people. I used to be a banker before venturing into the not-for-profit organizations. And in the bank, we were taken on trainings. We were told on how to be innovative. Like, you might see, because, at the bank, when you'd go to the field, you'd have that field, you'll have the touch with the clients at the wherever you meet them, and you have a clear insight of what they need. They can tell you, like, this product of yours, it would be better if you do 1, 2, 3, and with that, you can share with your immediate manager, and somehow, that information can reach the relevant people for them to maybe tailor make a product that can suit the need of, after you've talked to a group of people to find out exactly what they need. And, that was the 5 items I wanted to talk about with the adaptive leadership, the framework around that. So thank you, Kadiri. I hope I was within the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Evans.
Probably Kadiri, before
Yes, Ian.
I can see time is really flying. I think the topic of discussion is quite engaging. It's quite, interesting. Probably we can try to be brief. I know we have some bits left, and I'll just request the participants, probably if you'll allow us to just probably take the next 10 minutes to just finalize on the additional segments. Then probably we can take 1 or 2 questions. Then we can call it a night and probably continue the discussion elsewhere. So probably Kadiri, we can try to just take note of that even as we continue.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. So this is another VUCA has presented itself.
Yeah.
Where we have to be agile and adapt and still be able to achieve our goal. Thank you so much, Evans. So yeah, we'll move a bit faster. And I will just share this and then invite the other 2 panelists to also just give their input, and then we close. And so, like Evans was talking about, so then how do we adapt, as leaders? What do we do? And it is interesting that when we talk about the VUCA reality or the environment, the antidote to it is also VUCA. Same, where a fellow called Johansen argues, that the antidote of VUCA is VUCA. But this time around, it's vision, understanding, clarity, and agility. So where in this case the vision addresses volatility, understanding addresses uncertainty, clarity addresses complexity, and agility addresses ambiguity. So you need to be a strategic visionary in your organization. You need to be able to understand your team, understand the environment, and understand the changes that are happening. And then in and understand, you know, what are these uncertainties, where are the issues. Then where there's complexity, then you have to provide clarity that yes, there are so many things that are going on, but this specific strand is the one that we want to follow, or this specific path is the one that we want to pursue. And where there's ambiguity, then you need to be agile, because you're not certain, and therefore you need to be able, like I say, to be a Velcro organization where you can quickly adapt, quickly learn, and quickly adapt to the change and still continue successfully. So I want to invite the next two practitioners to also briefly just share maybe three minutes, and then we conclude on now, how then can we as leaders cultivate resilience within our teams? Because like Ivan said, he's leading a team. Kuku is also leading a team. So you can't be the only one who is resilient. How can you pass this on to your team members for them to also be able to navigate ambiguity and complexity effectively? So I want to bring in Dad Boy to just briefly 3 minutes or so share. Then immediately after you do that, Chemisto, you will also be able to share. So Dad, please proceed.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. So we are looking at how leaders cultivate resilience within a team. So we said to cultivate resilience as a leader, you need to create a safe place. You need to ensure that the work environment is safe, which means members of your team can express themselves freely, they can ask questions, and even discuss their mistakes with the team. That helps to foster togetherness within the team. It helps to put all of the team members on the same page. You also look at continual learning. In the team, as a leader, you are a coach or also a mentor for the team. You always need to teach your team member. When they are in the know of what to do, when they gain new knowledge, they are able to overcome challenges because they have been prepared to undertake challenges. They maintain open mind. So as a leader, in order to cultivate resilience in the team, you also need to focus on continuous learning for your team members. You also need to foster collaboration and connectiveness. In the team, everyone must have a voice when it comes to decision making. Everyone must understand what is to be done together. In that sense, everyone will give in their best because everyone is contributing towards the team building. Let everyone understand what they are about to do. Give the information to everybody. In that sense, your team is going to be strong and more stronger than before. Next, you also need to practice empathy. Empathy in the sense that you put yourself in the condition or in the shoe of your team members. Some of our team members are faced with different problems. Some have family issues. Some are burnt out because of workload. But you as a leader of that team, if you go close to them, you want to understand their problem. Do not ignore their complaint. Do not ignore their suggestion. Put yourself in that shoe. What if this was me doing this? So it's very important in building resilience in a team. The next one is goal set. As a leader of the team, you need to set a goal because every member of that team must understand the direction in which the team is moving. So if there's a goal set, everyone focus on their goal. No matter what challenges that may come, everyone know what they are fighting for. So it helps the team to overcome challenges. It builds resilience in the team. Acceptance of change. It is very important to accept change. As a team leader, you should always inform your team that changes will occur. The world is fast moving. Yesterday, there were some things that we were doing the other way around, but today it has changed. So if you don't accept change, you just want to stick to the old mentality, it becomes a problem. So accepting of changes or change in a team is very important. Learning from your past. This is why in project management, we always emphasize on knowledge gain because it's very important. What we're doing wrongly, what should have been done this way and we did it like this. That is a lesson. So it's very good to look in the past, look at the lesson, what were the mistakes, so that tomorrow you can avoid such mistakes that will not affect the team. As a team leader, you should always watch out, be on the look for the team. Always have open mind. Do not put yourself before the team because each member of that team is very important to the team. So always seek their interest. Make sure that their interest is high on your agenda. So with this, I'm going to conclude.
That's great. Probably just in about 10-20 seconds. Yeah.
So cultivating resilience in a team is not just to have a nice day or to just overcome, but it's also important that keep the unity of the team together to achieve their goal. It helps the team to maintain stability and focus despite of disruption. Adapt and not only bounce back, but also enable the team to bounce forward in terms of crisis. Thank you. Over from my side.
Yes, Kadiri, I think we are probably over time. I'll just give, I know Jennifer was to contribute. Jennifer, probably in about 2 minutes, probably you can also give your thoughts on the same.
Okay, thank you so much, team. I believe Kwaku has expounded on that section, and I'll just add on top of that. Number one is that for you to cultivate that resilience in your team members, you should first understand your team, because each and every team has got a unique character or unique thing that can bring on board, and you should be able also to understand your team members so that you can capitalize on their expertise. Also, I think one of the things is that you should be an effective decision maker as a leader for you to cultivate the resilience in your team members, because being an effective decision maker, you will be able to make the team also to be resilient. Yes, I think most of the things Koku has mentioned, and those are some of the contributions. And also transparency, you should be transparent to your team members so that they can trust you, and also be also open to give you maybe some information on how things are going on. And in that way, you can they can be able to be resilient to some of these changing ambiguities and complexity. Thank you.
That's great. Kadiri, probably, yeah, you can take over as we wrap up.
Yeah, I will skip the slides to the end because of time. We don't want to keep you beyond what we promised. So just mentioning them, already quite a number have been mentioned. One of my best leadership styles is situational leadership. So go read more on that situational leadership, and you'll be able to see how it will really guide you. Yeah, and when you think about it, there's what we call sense-making leadership. You know, It's also you're just trying to make sense of your environment, of the uncertainties before you make a decision. We have relational leadership, which also the panelists have talked about. You know, when you think you're not working in a vacuum, you're working in a team, and therefore you must be able to build connections, collaborations, and partnerships, because then they will help you to navigate through this VUCA reality. Then I can't belabor more on adaptive leadership, agility, adaptability. There's a phrase that usually goes on change or perish. You know, you either change or perish. I know to some extent, sometimes as practitioners, the policies of the organization may actually limit us to what we can or what we can't do. The unfortunate thing is that, okay, for you, you might not change, but if the organization persists, then it is the organization that may actually perish if it does not change and adapt. And of course, stewardship is important. One of the panelists talked about connecting the past, the present, and the future. You know, if we have been doing something wrong, you know, or something that we've realized is not the best way to do it, what are we doing about that? You know, so you're able to connect your past, your present, and be able to look at the future, so that you don't repeat the same errors and mistakes that you may have happened. So to conclude, and I believe you'll have this slide and you'll be able to read them. Here you will be able to see the characteristic of a complex environment, an example, and an approach that you can be able to use to address that particular issue for complexity, volatility, ambiguity, uncertainty. So remember, we said the antidote of VUCA is VUCA. Like Ivan said in Swahili, VUCA means to cross over. So if you find the river and you need to get to the other side, the solution is to get to the other side. And we said, you know, for volatility, vision; for uncertainty, understanding; for ambiguity and complexity, you also have their matching items, so that you're able to address this reality. So thank you so much. Time has limited us, but I believe that we can now be able to dig deeper, understand our environment, and be able to address this particular reality and environment. So thank you so much, and have yourselves a nice rest of the day. Thank you. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Kadiri. I believe it's quite an engaging session. And just for participants, please note this is not the end. I will be sharing the community forums link so that we are able to continue this discussion. But probably even before we leave, probably in a minute or so, I just want to go through some of the feedback. And thank you also for those who are sharing their contact details. I know majority of participants are really looking forward to the class, and we'll be able to assist you to finalize your admission. Please do so, and our team members will be able to, you know, just reach out to you after this session. But Kadiri, probably just to take some few, you know, feedback and queries and comments on the Q&A. I can see there's Abdirahman who's saying, and some of these things probably we may have tackled, but Abdirahman has a comment and he's contributing by saying, I think so VUCA means some examples are market instability, changes in regulations, and the complexity of the world. The most important thing is to remember, is that leaders must be flexible, have a plan, and encourage a learning culture in order to be successful. And I think that's something that we have really grasped even as we've continued with the session. And probably just one question, Kadiri, before we come to the end of the session. There's Felicia Irima, I believe from Nigeria, who's asking, based on the definitions given from different school of thought, have you considered the remote courses around the governance side on the team? Because some policy can also hinder ability to change. I know you've touched on this, but probably just briefly, in 30 seconds or so, can you just, give more insights into that?
Yeah, thank you, Felicia. You are right. There are some policies that prevent us from doing the things that we know we should be able to do. And that is a problem that will bite the organization that is refusing to adapt to the environment. And we gave examples of Kodak. Some of you may remember Kodak at some point. They were the best when you think of cameras and so on. But where are they today? Some of the people first to join the mobile phone market in many parts of Africa was Nokia. But where are they today? Think of some of the computer, companies that were there that started before Microsoft. Where are they today? So yes, it is correct that some policies may hinder us, be it in a government, organization, school, whichever setup. But then the problem or the challenge later on will come and bite that particular organization. So for us as practitioners is to try and encourage the organization to show them that this is the reality and the environment we are operating in, and we either change or perish. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Kadiri. I believe that has been tackled quite well. And thank you so much for the continuous engagement. I know time has really flown, and there's a lot more that we need to cover. But participants, please be encouraged that most of this will be handled in the community forum. We have been able to share the link on the chat box. So please, if you haven't done so yet, please rush there and click on the link to join our community forum. It's quite an engaging platform where we have participants from all over the world, just similar to the panelists that we've had today coming in from different segments of the continent. And I believe we'll be able to share our insights, our experiences in the different, contexts that we've come from. And we will be glad to connect with you in that platform as well. So if you haven't done so yet, please click on the Discord community forum link, and I will be able to, engage more on that session, platform. Kadiri will also be there just to take a few questions or comments as well. As we've had, we are learning from each other, and I believe we are in an environment of continuous learning, sharing our experiences, and I believe those are quite important even as we continue discussing on this topic. I think my takeaway from this webinar is the antidote to VUCA is VUCA. And I'm awaiting on the slides, to just be able to, dig deep on the same. And you've sort of tingled my my insights or my expectation to just learn more about the topic, and I'm really looking forward to the same. Also, we'll be able to touch on some of this in our upcoming training workshop. As Anthony had shared as we were beginning, we do have an upcoming workshop in the month of March, from the 25th of March to the 5th of April, and we'll be excited to connect with most of you in that class. If you haven't done so yet, please click on the link that we have shared, the registration form link. You can also share your contact details, and one of my colleagues will be able to reach out to you after the session. There's also what's going on your screen. You can at least know how to navigate on the website, and you'll be able to reach on the form, and you can submit your registration for the same. I think time has really flown, and without much ado, please, we look forward to engaging you in the class. And thank you so much, Kadiri. Probably your final remarks, even as we come to the end of this session.
Yeah, let's be champions of good project management leadership at whatever level that we are in, because that is, as it is said, we either change or perish. It's a matter of time. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. I really enjoy your sessions, Kadiri, and I'm really looking forward to the class. So once again, I look forward to seeing you all, and please click on the community forum link to continue the discussion, and I look forward to engaging you on that segment as well. Thank you so much for those who joined us via Facebook. Please, we will stay in touch with you even as we continue, engaging, and thank you so much for staying through this session. So until next time, we'll see you again. My name has been Ian, your moderator, and we look forward to interacting with you in our upcoming class. Thank you, and bye-bye.
My name is Evans Cheptiram. I'm the Operations Director at Beam Children's Foundation, a non-profit organization working in Tarbo, Eldoret, Kenya. We provide educational scholarships and mental health counseling to vulnerable children in the slums within Tarbo. I learned of Humanitarian Global through a friend and wanted to do a training on leadership and project management. And I got a chance to attend a training, a 4-day training on project management. and I've learned a lot. My take home would be the change management and communication that I intend to put into work once I get back to my workstation, and see to it that this improves the services that we deliver to our clients. Thank you.
Are you a humanitarian or development professional looking to take your skills to the next level? Then our self-paced online courses are perfect for you. We cover all the key areas you need to know, including monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning, water, sanitation and hygiene, disaster risk reduction and management, food security and nutrition and emergencies, procurement and supply chain management, human nutrition and dietetics, maternal, infant and young child nutrition. Our courses are designed to help you advance your career, stay ahead of the competition, and make a real impact in your field. And the best part is that you can study at your own pace and on your own time. So don't wait. Enroll now and start advancing your skills today.